Hello, dear Starshines. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of the Lunchtime Chats. For those of you who are new, my name is Christina, and I am an acceleration expert. And we are here to talk about those topics and issues that are significant for us starseeds, way showers, new paradigm visionaries. We have abilities and capacities that are not embraced by our larger human family. Therefore, we have very unique perspectives that to the events that are happening around us in our world that are not commonly addressed. So I am here to offer, to the best of my ability, to provide a liberated perspective so you guys can be empowered in your walk towards your multidimensional sovereignty. So here we are, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, dear sister Beverly and Carol. Thank you for being here. You guys, go ahead, say hi. Let me know you're here. And I'll go ahead and dive right in. So, where do I begin? All right. So first, I'm going to address dear Starshine's question. Excuse me. That she, see the energy's already moving here. That she posed to a previous video I did where I talked about very often abuse is our way of being initiated into the telluric realm, particularly sexual abuse. And she was wondering why she wasn't making that connection. She was wondering why that was. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into that. And then I'm also going to talk about some overlays that are just about to crack that I think you guys will be happy about. And the other thing is to give you guys some further insight on how to deal with the Sirian Stargate that is open and free flowing for an extended period of time. So, all right, so let's begin with the conversation about sexual abuse often being an initiation to the telluric realm. So this is a teaching/insight that I was educated on by working with dear sister Starshine, Barbara Han-Clow. I mention her a lot in these talks, especially in the past. I studied with her. Every year she would go to Lilydale, New York, up until 2012, where she would do these multidimensional activations. And this is the work that she writes about, Alchemy of the Nine Dimensions. Leading up to the writing of that book, she was doing these activations at Lilydale, New York, exploring these dimensions, these lenses, and how they work and how they activate within people and how to facilitate. And so pretty much it was a group effort to flush out the work that eventually led to her her writing about it in Alchemy of the Nine Dimensions. By the time 2012 came around, she released those writings, and in addition to some insights about Johann Kalaman's work in working with the Mayan calendar. She called it the Mayan Code. So this is a massive body of work that took an entire collective to bring forward. So I'm going to try to bring it forward as clearly as I possibly can in this discussion. So one of the facets to the teachings is working with the 7 chakra model. So this is the Vedic teachings of energy centers that are anchored in the body along the spine. Well, so some versions of the teachings say they're anchored along the spine. Other versions of the teachings anchor them to specific endocrine glands. So within our endocrine system. Now that particular energy system was brought to humanity after the Great Cataclysm, where often known as the Great Flood. And this was to assist humanity in, the story is this, to assist humanity to come further into their bodies. And there are arguments that it was anchoring a control system. When I was encountering those teachings, it was through the Hyperboreans, and what I felt from them that it truly was a gift of love given to humanity to help us move forward from the Great Cataclysm. And so the 7 chakra model is, the rainbow, installing a system of vortices within the body that correlate to the rainbow. So you have the red being the root, the orange being the sacral, the gold being the solar plexus, the green being the heart, blue being the throat, the third eye being violet, and then white/indigo being the crown. So these vortices are more than just vortices. They're more than just spinning wheels of light. They're also our doorway into accessing a certain kind of multidimensional consciousness. And the model that she teaches is, well, in the version that she wrote about, it's 10 dimensions, but it's actually 11. And that is something that got fleshed out way later. And I don't know if she's written any updates about that or not. And this particular model has the one more chakra above the crown that the Pleiadians refer to or have referred to as the 8th chakra. And the different indigenous masters that I worked with call it the Huaracocha. And that is the doorway to the center of the Milky Way galaxy. So many of us starseeds have encodements that take us way beyond this particular model. But up until, this work was really getting integrated through the collective, that was the primary way that we awoke to our multidimensional awareness. And that is and this is true even when you're awoke beyond the 9 dimensions or beyond the 11 dimensions. These are nesting dolls of realities that create this reality. For example, we have the isness, the void, then the isness. And then from the isness, there's this perception of we separate out of the isness in the form of a sound wave as a tone, a soul song. And from that soul song, it creates the geometry of our light body. And from our light body, we explore these realities via our soul's journey, which we access within the Akasha. And then from there, we explore ourselves through a collective. And then from there, we explore ourselves in this 3D biosuit. And then, or this 3D reality, I should say, this 3-dimensional realm. And then there's the telluric realm, and then there's the heart and mind of the Pachamama. That's in great summation right there. So as this model isn't completely out the window. There's still these nesting dolls, like I say, but many of us starseeds are awoke far beyond this. So some of this may feel kind of heavy the way I'm going to explain it. And but before I go into that, I want to also mention that many of us who have awoke beyond the galactic plane, beyond the cosmic mind, and are working on the quantum levels, we don't have, our energy system is changing. We don't necessarily have that rainbow separated out like that within our energy field. For many of us, it's 3 main energy centers that are pure white platinum light. And that is the 3 main energy centers could be equated to the different Dantians taught in Taoist practices, which is the lower Dantian, middle Dantian, and upper Dantian. So I just want to put that out there before I go into these lenses like this. So, these bodies are hyperdimensional, and these lenses that have, or veils that have kept us blind to who we are as multidimensional beings are lifting. So up until the moment where they were lifting at the level that they're lifting, we had to get activated in certain ways to have lenses, these lenses, which are those chakras that I'm talking about, open up so we can actually perceive these levels. And it just so happens that the sacral and is a lens for 2 realities. It's the lens for the telluric reality, which is the realm of the elementals, of elemental consciousness, but it's also this 3D realm as well. So that lens is shut down until it's not. And the reason why this abuse and trauma that I'm talking about is very often the initiation. It's not always, especially nowadays, right? This is just in the context of how I was talking about it in the past in that other chat. is it's because they're shut down. And waking up to ourselves in our elemental reality means getting in touch with our sexuality, the expression of our divine creator consciousness, which is our sexual energy. I hesitate to use the word tantric because that also has been severely twisted and distorted, but some people may call it tantric energy. So the arousal energy, the orgasmic energy, that is an expression of our source, our infinite nature, our soul's nature, our creative force. And when people are initiated into certain systems of ceremonial work, it is in the form of having that awakened. And in the abuse kind of way, it's awakened by an adult with a child. And that's why I would call that abuse. Sometimes it's done lovingly, and sometimes it's not. And a lot of times, especially the satanic stuff and the dark force stuff, right? It's done in a very abusive way. And the reason why it's done with malicious force is to create trauma, so that part of the person's biosuit can be easily taken over by other forces. And that's what this is all about. This is why this is how the royal lines get hijacked, is by hijacking the divine feminine force, the sacred temple within the woman's womb space. So it starts off with creating hybrids, right? It starts off with creating hybrids, and then it goes into creating more offspring that are committed into this particular dark lineage. And that means that, the adults within that webbing, they commit their children into the webbing as well, which means they're contracting their children out to be taken over by these forces. I know this is really dark stuff that I'm talking about. And this is the stuff that's coming to a close, because the outer nesting dolls that are beyond that 11D field, that we're awoke to on a quantum level, are no longer giving permission, are no longer structurally supporting that behavior, those pieces that I'm talking about. So each of the lenses, let me just go through what each lens is. So the root is our connection to the Pachamama. And in the Pleiadian model, our root is synonymous with the frequency of the core of the earth. So in energetic actuality, our root is the core of the earth itself. It's not actually located in the body, though we access it through the body, right? It's the perineum, right? But frequency-wise, resonance-wise, it is the core of the earth. And then there's that lens. And then we have the sacral lens, which is our ability to perceive the telluric realm and our ability to engage through our bodies, this 3D realm. And then we have the solar plexus, which is the eye that gives us access to the collective field around us. And this is a collective field that has many nesting dolls within it. And I've done lots and lots of chats about this collective field. It's still happening, absolutely. For a lot of people, it's cleaned up. For a lot of people, it's not. Right now, the collective is in the process of waking up out of the different artificial structures within that field that cause them to be in reversal relationship to their true nature, to Mother Nature. So this is in the process of unraveling on a collective level. And then you have the heart, which is the eye that gives you access to feeling multidimensional access to your infinite nature. So this is the accessing the Akashic records, for example. It's done through the heart. Pure innocent, creative energy. This is the lens of the heart. And this is also the lens in which a lot of people connect with the Pleiadians through. Okay. And then the next lens, the throat lens, which is the way we would access Sirian knowledge, which is the light body knowledge, which is the sixth dimension. That is the geometry behind all form. So the heart lens gives us access to the ability to heal our now by addressing things in the past. So it's an initiation for us stepping out of linear time and going into cyclical time, which is closer to what the true nature of time is. It's cyclical in nature. So the Pleiadians help us with that, as well as many other things. And then you have the level of stepping outside of time, and that is the light body frequencies, and that is something that the Sirians have been the guardians of for many, many thousands of years for humanity. And this is why very often collectives present themselves as a Sirian Pleiadian alliance, because it is a frequency that pulls us out of the linear time, the collective field, and brings us closer to the infinite cyclical nature of time. So how we are now does not need to be how we are in the next moment. And we can heal our light body, which instantly heals the timelines we've been exploring with our life force energy, and therefore we change our here and now. Within the blueprint, within the light body, contains all the ways you're going to heal, all the ways you're going to get sick, all the ways you're going to pass, all the different experiences that your soul is looking for, or I should say your quantum is intending to have. Okay, now soul is very individuated, but when you start going into these other levels, they're more in a quantum sense, and they're not as individuated. So this is why soul groups experience the same experiences, because it's a collective within this other level of who we are that is coming forward for particular experiences. And then the third eye is the lens for frequency, for perceiving frequency. And frequency creates shape. Okay, so it's us getting to more outer nesting doll of what's creating our here and now reality, in which case it's frequency. And then you have your crown, of course, which accesses the all that is perception, what many people might refer to as God, Goddess, the I am presence. And then you have the eye, the lens that is within the Viracocha, and that is our direct access to the galactic mind, which up until recently, when I say recently, in the past, maybe decade or so, has been the black hole in the Sun Milky Way galaxy. But many of us have awoke to nesting dolls beyond that, and it's no longer the black hole. It's the white and black hole together in unity consciousness, and it's uniting the galactic mind. So it's not in a polarity, it's existing outside the polarity. So that's the gift working with your Viracocha offers you. Okay, so this system, this energy system, the chakra system, like I said, is getting upgraded as we wake up to more and more nesting dolls of who we are. Some, and actually a lot, still use this system because they've been able to bypass the other kinds of control systems, implants, other stuff that have been controlling mechanisms within our chakra system. And then, of course, there's others that are choosing to let go of the chakra system as taught by the Vedic teachings, and are unifying on a much more outer nesting doll level. So the more nesting dolls you awake to, the more opportunities you have to transcend that structure, and with it, the control systems that come with that structure. Okay. And this is where a lot of starseeds come up with the idea of chakra removal. Now, I know that goes against the teachings that a lot of people deeply believe in, and I'm not here to say one's right or one's wrong. I'm not. I'm just giving an understanding of how they function in the awakening journey as to your own sovereignty as a multidimensional being. So and the powers that be were, the dark forces were heavily invested in having us give up the sovereignty of our physical body. And that is done through trauma and shame programming and guilt programming. Okay, maybe this gives you a little more perspective on why religions teach what they teach, right? The whole idea of being born a sinner. Now, I was really blessed because my mom never believed that. My mom taught me, because she grew up in a very traditional Christian household. My mom taught me that from a very young age that you don't have to believe anything that the church tells you. We go to church to belong to community, to have a wholesome community, to be supported by and to be in connection with. So she told me personally, she does not believe any ounce of her being did she believe that it's possible to be born a sinner. So I was liberated from that program at a pretty young age. My mom was rather ahead of her time while she was alive. Anyway, so this is why I'm saying that about the abuse, is the goal is to, at that time, was to get people to relinquish their sovereignty. And the more you are out of your body, the less command, less sovereignty, the less presence you have with your body. So when you have other forces, when you leave your body and other forces come in, they take over and they have command of that part of you. They have command of those lenses. They have command of how you multidimensionally perceive, and therefore alters your body chemistry and how you can engage in this world. So what it looks like is profound victimhood, profound powerlessness, helplessness, and being kind of frozen in that state and having to operate in this world in that state. And then, of course, our ego driver does what it does, which is to protect us at all costs. It starts creating a persona, starts building masks, starts building things to protect us from the pain, from the powerlessness. So a lot of times people who feel extremely insecure inside, extreme powerlessness inside, they will actually project the opposite from them. That they will present themselves as really big energy and in total command and having total control, which is a mask. And that is how we get even further away from our truth. We start believing that we are this mask, and therefore we just keep going in that path of disempowerment, because we are steeped within that disempowerment triangle, which is the three corners are victimhood, perpetrator, and savior. Okay. A lot of people really get stuck, especially light workers, get stuck in the savior role, not recognizing how it's disempowering everybody involved. Okay. So this is why it's so important for starseeds, for light workers, to realize that you can't help people unless they want to meet you and how you can help them. If they want help, they're going to meet you in that, and together you are able to work to make change, to reclaim what needs to be reclaimed or retrieve what needs to be retrieved. You know what I mean? You can help pull them out of that disempowerment triangle only when they're ready and willing. If they're not ready and willing, there's nothing we can do for them. Okay, there's nothing we can do for them, because then we start stepping in as savior, which when we fail because they're not doing what they need to do to save themselves, then they become our victim because we failed them. You see what I mean? So just reflect in your own world how many times you've experienced that kind of dynamic. And that's, and this is what we're decoding right now as light workers, as starseeds, as light warriors, is how to awaken, how to do our part in awakening and helping our brothers and sisters to their sovereignty of who they really are, to their real power as infinite beings in a biosuit, waking up to how they are fully creating this reality. Now, in Lightbody, we're about to step into dark force training, and this is something that is not taught often. And actually, I don't know many, actually, I only know maybe a handful of humans on this planet that teach true dark forces. And I'm not talking about how to use dark forces like sorcery. I'm talking about how to mitigate it in a way where it doesn't create more victimhood, more tragedy, where you can mitigate it in a way where you are not stepping into being a savior. You are not stepping in as in battle mode in any way, shape, or form. Quite literally, it's an alchemy practice to unify the war that's happening, to bring connection, peace, recovering of memory, recovering of personal power through the interaction. When it's done right, the person ends up feeling stronger, more empowered, and more at peace. When it's not done right, then they're going to be in battle mode until they're not, right? So this is really exciting that it's all happening the way that it's happening, but I understand that when you are on the receiving end of it, it's extremely, extremely intense, and at many moments hopeless. It feels that way. It feels hopeless. It feels, like you're going down this black hole where there's no recovery. But there is recovery. There is possible. Absolutely, it's possible to come back from that. The thing is, we need to be willing to let go of the mask. We need to be willing to let go of who we thought we were, all the stories we tell ourselves that define us. I am this, I am that, right? Being willing to let go of those stories so a new perspective can be realized. More outer nesting doll of reality can be realized. And once you go beyond the nesting doll of where the dark force is happening, that is where you find the power. That is where you find the ability to alchemize the war and the conflict within these more inner nesting dolls. So this is how you are able to decode trauma. This is how you're able to decode intense fragmentation. Okay. So I'm wondering if I think there's more to be said on that. I'm going to put that to the side for a minute and start talking about some of these overlays in the collective that we're cracking out of. This is really cool. Because when we address the collective field on the level that it exists, right? That whole game, that whole playing field is set up for us to be disempowered and to fail. The trick is getting beyond that nesting doll into the outer nesting doll and realizing that these forces penetrate because we are doing things to participate in the penetration. And I'm talking about the collective field. And this is the story I have to reflect this. So there's a show, a dear sister Starshine said, Christina, you got to watch this. There's, because evidently there was a guy in there that talks a lot about the kinds of things that we do in Lightbody, the work that we're doing in Lightbody. And the further into the episode she gets, the more he touches on these pieces that we work with, especially the part about empowering ourselves through dream time, the grid work, the transmission work, all that stuff. And this is a show called Truth Seeker, and it's hosted by Elizabeth Howe, who's been in the disclosure field for decades and decades. And this is a show that's on Gaia TV. I'm only a couple of episodes in, but she said something so poignant, so poignant, because this is what I see really making a crack within the control systems within that collective field. It's making that crack so people can see the bigger picture. They can see beyond those blinders into a more expanded nesting doll. And that is, he was explaining, he was talking about different ETs that they're engaged with. And there is a collective of humans that are heavily engaged in the exo-politics of the galactic and cosmic realm. Okay, they are engaging in empire, which is the power of dynamics I talk about a lot, and they're also engaging in benevolent ones that are beyond the empire control. So that's one piece, is that there are a collective of humans engaging, and it's an international effort. It's not just one nation doing it. Okay, it's not just one nation doing it. And these beings, you have to be able to meet them in their frequency in order to communicate, which means a lot of the what some might call the shadow government, there's a deep state, that kind of stuff. That is at a particular frequency that cannot exist within the frequency of these other interdimensional ET beings that are being interacted with. So this is really good news, because this means they have to be, the ones engaging with them have to be a frequency match. They have to be able to expand themselves into that level of consciousness in order to have that kind of communication and to have that kind of help, to have them help. Okay, remember, there's no saviors here. We have to help ourselves. So quite literally, when you're getting into the exo-politics and the other humans of this planet that are engaging, they are engaging in a benevolent, with benevolent ETs, which means they're acting for the good of all. They're not acting just for personal gain. Now, there are ETs, of course, malicious ones that entice and bait our deep state, and this is our deep state. We call that, and that's what it is in the U.S., but it's an international infiltration. It's throughout the entire planet. All the governments are, all the major governments of our planet are engaged in the deep state manipulation. So they only can reach the malicious ones. They only can work with the ones that don't have human awakening and sovereignty at heart. They are manipulating timelines. They're manipulating human consciousness. They are, sucking life force. They're setting up a system to continue to feed off of the infinite life force energy that's available on this planet via humans and other species. But these benevolent ones are also getting engaged with, which means, you know what I mean, that there's a counter force. There's a force that is beyond that nesting doll of power over dynamics. There's mitigation going on, which is great. Sorry, I digressed on the story. So what he said was, he started talking about these benevolent ETs know and have gauged the human consciousness on this planet, and was saying that 80% of the humans on this planet are completely okay with the perception, with the idea, with the acknowledgement that there are ETs. We're not alone in this realm, and that there are extraterrestrial interdimensional beings interacting with us in this realm, and that they are benevolent. That's 80% of humanity is aware of that and at peace with that. Okay. But Elizabeth cut him off right there. And she's like, but it's not real until it's on the cover of the New York Times and she named all these different news organizations. And what I saw happening there is that she inserted this program. It was subconscious. It's not real until these structures acknowledge it as real. Okay, that is an overlay program that is falling. And we can see this in the news and in what we see happening. The ratings of legacy media are at an all-time low. Okay, they're at an all-time low. And that is because people are waking up and realizing that they are not being told the truth. They are not what they present themselves to be. And this is great news, because the majority of humans do not accept that overlay as the real reality anymore. You see what I mean? So this is a moment to celebrate. She was injecting that because that's the program. That is what humans believed at a collective level for a very, very long time. especially in the West. You know, ever since World War II, you know, we were glued to the news. We relied on the news. We trusted our news reporters that they had the best interest at heart and they truly were seeking truth and were reporting it, which many were. But at the same time, that's been hijacked, inverted, and reversed. And I mean, that goes as far back to the crack epidemic that happened here in the United States. Mr. Webb, I can't remember his first name. He was a reporter that found out that the CIA was behind all of the cocaine traffic coming into our coming into the United States and cutting it with other things and turning it into crack so it was more affordable. It was all an effort to hijack the inner city, the African American populations. It was meant to undermine their society. That was front page news, guys. I think this was in the 80s. Front page news. Okay. Truth was still being able to be spoken through our news media. But then it all got hijacked. It all got spun around. And he eventually, I mean, he had death threats. He had to go into hiding, all this stuff. He didn't stop working, but he did eventually get canceled out and snuffed out. So this falling away of having certain kinds of integrity with the, you know, being in integrity with the ideas that we had about it has been going on for several decades. And now it's tatters. It's tatters. You know, I saw the news about the fire in Maui, right? Which is very significant, guys, on an interdimensional level. Very, very significant. And there's more to be fleshed out about that. But all in all, these data sets that I'm getting from the different sources are showing me that we're cracking open, we're cracking past some of the really big systems that have been keeping humanity shut down and clueless to what is really happening, to the true nature of our reality. Okay. This is really great news. Yeah, I'll pause right here for a second because there's something more that I need to mention. Hold on. Let me know if you guys are picking up what I'm putting down with this. Okay. The next layer is this idea that if our government falls, then it's total anarchy and mayhem. This too is an apocalyptic program that has been inserted into the consciousness of humanity for many decades via Hollywood. Well, and also books, right? There have been post-apocalyptic stories being released to the masses for many, many, many decades. And then there's also dystopian stories being released to the public for many, many decades. And one of the stories that come to me is Brave New World. I don't know if you guys remember that book. We had to read it in school. It was required reading in like 7th grade or something like that. And this is a story of humanity no longer, well, there's no longer families. Everybody is born artificially. And there were a lot of values that were adopted that were not of integrity with nature. And the story unfolds where they realize that the ruling elite, so to speak, of that society was actually lying to everybody in the society. They believed that all of the people living outside their bubble city were heathens and were suffering, and they were, you know, they were this and they were that, when actually the people on the outside of the bubble wanted liberation and fairness for the ones inside this constructed society. And they, you know, they were not what they were told they were. And then you have many other dystopian stories. This is all to implant this idea that we have to have these artificial systems in place in order to thrive, in order to be happy, in order to be healthy. And this is not true. This is not true at all. Okay. Mad Max, another great example, another post-apocalyptic program inserted into the subconscious of humanity. So we will hold on to these systems for dear life, thinking that, you know, we are all going to suffer and die and live in total anarchy and barbarism without these systems in place, when really these systems are the ones that are against nature, that are against cosmic nature, against our true nature, our spirit, against, they are quite literally the opposite of what we need to thrive as a collective, to thrive in harmony with Mother Nature. And it's the exact opposite of what they're showing us, teaching us, is the exact opposite of what we need to do in order to survive, make it through the what we call global warming, the ecological changes that are happening here on this planet. We are built, when we're multidimensionally awoke, we are built to work in harmony with Mother Nature, in harmony with each other. Okay, we are literally programmed and built on a deep, deep level to be that way, to live in a tribe, to be good caretakers of all life in the lands that we live in. But the system that's in place is the exact opposite of that. We give all our power over to the system, and the system's supposed to take care of us. Meantime, the system is creating, reaping resources by pretty much raping and pillaging third world countries of their resources. I mean, this is what's been going on in Africa. This is what's been going on in Central and South America. Okay, it's been going on. These companies come in and, you know, they mine or they do whatever, and it poisons the water. It kills the ecosystem, and, you know, tribes are left without food and without clean water, and, you know, they're left to desolation and misery because of the way the resources are extracted. That is not good custodianship. Yeah, that's the word, custodianship. That is power over dynamic. That is abuse of the Pachamama. So the green movement has a lot of narratives within it. And you know what? I love the idea of electric cars. I do. I love the idea of having transportation where we don't have to extract the oil and other resources in the way that we do, because there's a lot of damage that's done every time we have an oil spill or an oil volcano or whatever. I mean, it damages life. So the solution to the problem is not what they're saying it is, because it still requires extracting resources from companies that do not have respect for the earth or the populations of the lands that they're extracting these minerals from. Great example is what's going on in the Amazon. The entire planet needs the Amazon. The entire planet needs that consciousness to thrive for all life. It's not just for those that live on that land. The entire planet really reaps the benefit of the Amazon being in existence. But they're selling all that land off. They're taking the land from the indigenous. They're doing all sorts of atrocious things to extract minerals and resources. And a lot of it is for soybean and for the minerals to make solar panels and other things that are being made popular within the green movement. You know, like I for a considerable amount of time lived with a plant-based diet. Okay, now you know that they're moving towards, they're targeting now making, promoting veganism, right? I'm not saying it's right for everybody, but some people it's right for. But the kind of veganism that they're promoting is not the kind of veganism that's used by people that do healing diets. You know, tofu is not a staple. It's not a good staple for a vegan diet, right? There's lots of other pieces, like, you know, the fake meats that they make, that is really not good for the human body. It is not healing for the human body. It's not nurturing. So again, they're taking something that in the past has been an idea, a medicine that has been used to heal people of cancer and other kinds of really intense health crises, right? And they are shifting it into something that's distorted, that creates more unhealth, more disconnection, more pain and trauma on humanity. So we're waking up out of these systems because inside we're no longer having it. We're no longer allowing it. Where we are going, oh, and this is where the Sirian Stargate comes in, where we are going is being shown to us through this energy, this stellar / cosmic energy that is bombarding our planet, our solar system, our planet right now. And that is us waking up to the truth of who we are. We have to be in our truth. And that truth is not these masks, these ego drivers. It's not these lies that we've been told. It's not the trauma dramas we and our ancestors have been living for generation after generation. The truth is that we are deeply, deeply loved and cared for and held by cosmic mother, cosmic father. Some might call divine mother, divine father. We are held. Our reality is literally held with so much love that truth inside of us. And this is where we can reclaim the encodements pouring through us as being, each and every human being, a sacred child of the cosmos, a sacred child of the divine. This is where we're going. This is what the Stargate energy, the Sirian Stargate energy, is pushing us towards. But that means we have to wake up to these outer nesting dolls of who we are as multidimensional beings. We quite literally dream this reality into being from those quantum levels of us. We dream it into being. Our spirit pulls the encodements to this biosuit for us to integrate with and then create from. And that is how we recreate what's called heaven on earth, the idea of heaven on earth. And of course, those teachings have been distorted too. But the fact is that these outer nesting dolls that we've been living with for so long, many thousands of years, are no longer supported. You know, these outer nesting dolls are experiencing a unification on a very deep quantum level, and that's trickling down through the realms to our realm in the here and now. Many of us are waking up to the Fey realm, to the elemental realm, which is another facet of what we do in Lightbody. This is so potent. And for people who aren't ready, or for people who have a lot of masks and blinders to the true connection that we have with the Fey realm, you know, they go into major crisis mode when they interact at a certain level with these beings, such as Sasquatch, a great example. The Sasquatch have been reaching out to humanity very carefully, very gently for decades. Okay, now they're coming out much more full force. Ever since 2012, they've really been reaching out strong. And you might wonder, like, why do they have to, work with us? Why does it take us so long to wake up? And it's because we have biosuits and we have DNA. And as we wake up to these nesting dolls, it activates a different step in the dance of our DNA, which means it blasts out with force the things that shut down the DNA in the first place, which is trauma, shame, guilt, programming, okay? Dark force magic, ceremonial magic, all that abuse gets blasted out of our system as this aspect of our DNA dance comes online. And the Sasquatch wake up that DNA dance. This is why they start off keeping themselves far away. And then as you cultivate the relationship, as you integrate with the frequencies that they bring to you, which across the board, everybody reports, first thing you have to do is heal your heart. You have to heal your heart, your connection to love. You have to, okay. That as that happens more and more and more, people soften, people begin to have more compassion for themselves, for others. Their feminine, masculine aspects within them start to wake up. And once they get to a certain threshold of waking up, then they are prepared to unify. And in the unification, this is where harmony happens. Deep harmony inside the biosuit, which translates to harmony in this realm. And this is what that Sirian Stargate is supporting. And lightworkers, starseeds, wayshowers, you guys, I'm sure you're feeling the pieces here. And this is why so many people in the collective are saying this is a very potent time to create, because we need to step into our masterful creator consciousness, the one that, the part of us that has the ability to change this world. And of course, it starts inside, and then it ripple effects like this. So the things to be looking at is harmonizing the male-female aspects. And then after they harmonize and the mental programs clear out, the mental lies, the implants, all that stuff, as those things clear out, then you start to become more enlightened, in the sense that then now these two aspects of you can come together and unify. See, once they unify, we wake up to a reality where there is no need for an enemy. There's no need for an enemy anymore. That means no more wars, no more battles, no more inner battles with self, no more external battles with the opposite sex, no more external battles with other humans. It's now, we see all humans as part of a unified family, a unified tribe of sacred children. That's what we're going towards. And for many of you, this is not new, what I'm saying, but I'm saying this to you from a very integrated aspect within my own self. So there's a transmission in what I'm saying here in this way, that harmony is where it's at. You are a sacred child, and those encodements are pouring in to not just you, but all the life around you. And so now this is where we do our work. This is where we show up and do what it is we're here to do, just to forgive, bring harmony, bring compassion, okay? Honor life for the miracle that it is. And there are plant beings also from the Fey realm and other realms from Mother Nature that are also stepping forward to assist us with this process, okay? Many plant medicines are here to assist us in this process. And I'm not talking about the ones that create psychedelics, though they have their place. But then again, that also gets abused, right? But there's other plant beings that are here to help us harmonize, like rosemary, lavender, mugwort, calendula, rose. Now, all the life on this planet has cosmic origins, and some of them are embodiments of the divine spirit itself, such as rose, such as tobacco. Okay. There's many, many, many other ones coming forward too. Impatience, these are flowers. The peonies, another beautiful plant consciousness coming forward to help us unify. The daylilies, the tiger lilies, okay, those are really potent forces to help us center, okay, and help us reinform us on a subconscious level so we can appreciate being in the moment more often, make it more easily accessible for us. So if you find yourself extremely scattered, you can sit with the image of the daylily in your mind, in your heart, and call forward with gratitude the support of that plant consciousness. And she will quite literally bloom inside of you, and in that pull you into the here and now moment. Hello, dear sister Luna Rio. She says, rose and violets have been coming through for me a lot lately. Yes, exactly. So with the masters that I've trained with, they talk about the lower world, middle world, upper world, and that the upper world is a mirror of what this world is. So all the beings that we see in this world exist in the upper world as well. So in the upper world, there are the plant kingdoms, right? There's also the, I don't know if I'm going to say it right, this is the Suni, which is a sacred tree, the Samoma, another sacred tree. These trees are profound. They hold profound knowledge. They hold profound gateways for humans to dream within, to access other levels of their quantum being. And this is something that the indigenous of the Amazon have known for generations upon generations. There's more plants too that are coming forward here. Oh dear. There's one that's got my awareness, but I don't know the name of this. Actually, I've been looking for the name of this plant. They have the most amazing aroma. They remind me of jasmine, but they grow here in Central South America. They're a jungle flower. It's a white flower with the yellow inside, and the aroma is so intoxicating, very, very strong. I catch whiffs of them as I walk the streets here. And then we also have clematis and honeysuckle. Those two are potent plant forces. So the Fae and elemental realm are reaching out to us to wake up to them so they can work with us. Because as we work with these species as conscious beings, it expands, it accelerates the expansion of our own consciousness, and it helps bring more grace and ease in our path of moving forward and releasing, letting go of the dramas that have participated in shutting down our DNA dance, shutting down our consciousness. Plumera, I believe so. Oh, plumeria. Yeah, you know, that I haven't seen, I don't know, darling. I do love the smell of that flower. I don't know if I've actually seen that in person. Hold on a second. I'm going to Google it. Siri, Google plumeria. Plumeria. I'm not saying it right. Siri, Google plumeria. Nope, it's not going to do it while I'm here with you. I'm going to look that up, darling, and I'll let you know. The person I asked told me the Spanish name, and unfortunately, it didn't stick with me. I'm still working at integrating the Spanish language into my brain. I'm having a little bit of a hard time. I think it's because, well, there's lots of reasons, but one of them is that I'm a fixed sign, so I have a real solid structure within my the way I think. Anyway, so with all of this said, maybe that puts more into perspective why I say things like things are until they're not. You need to let go of who you think you are, because these masks are built on lies. It's not built on the truth of who we are, which is we are a sacred child of the cosmos. This biosuit is sacred, is a sacred gift given to your infinite nature so you can experience this reality, okay? And reality is as malleable as dream time is, okay? The reason why it feels like it's so solid is because it's collectively held, okay? And this is why it's so significant for the collective to wake up out of these structures, because reality can start to become more malleable again, and we can quite literally create heaven on earth through miracles by working with nature and not against nature, you know, because now we're harmonious inside of ourselves, and now we can harmoniously work with the forces of nature to create, to bring forward the nurturing, the sustenance, the beauty, the safety, I'm even going to say that, right? The security of, and the feeling of truly being held, okay? And that is my message for you guys today. I hope this is helpful. As always, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. The space you guys hold is so exquisite and helps me put voice to these things. You know, I was sharing with some of the facilitators in Lightbody is that, you know, I have all this stuff inside, but until I'm asked, I don't know to say it. I don't know to how, that it needs addressed. And as soon as I'm asked, the answer, the knowledge comes. But until I'm asked, it's just, it's just inside, and I'm just humming along doing my thing. And so it's important that this is a collective we process. Oh, one more thing I want to throw in here. This collective we process, this is essential. We need to not let this go. This is a collective process. And this is why so many of us who have been on this acceleration journey mindfully and purposefully, this is why we come to places and then it feels like we're in a holding pattern. Okay? That's because we're in this holding pattern because a certain critical mass needs to be reached on a collective level for us to keep going. And I know in the past that has been perceived as something that holds us back, but that's a misperception. It's that, once we're in this holding pattern, now we help everybody, all our brothers and sisters that are saying yes to waking up, we help them, we reach out, we nurture, we love, we connect, we bring forgiveness and compassion to all the ones around us that are in the frequency to receive that. And that's us doing our part to help that collective meet us where we're at. So then we can continue to go on. Okay. So this is one of the many reflections on how important it is for us to keep in mind that it's a we game. It's not a me game. It's a we game. Okay. You're only going to get so far on your own. But after that, you need a community. You need a tribe to be working with you, to be working together to unravel these pieces so you can move on to the next levels, whatever those levels are for you. And we're all in different stages. We're all in different frequencies of tribes. Okay, unless you're not in a tribe, and if you're not, I hope and pray for you that you'll find the one that's right for you, that you get the love and support you need, and you also get seen in the love and support that your presence offers. All right, thank you, darlings. Mwah. Until next time. Oh, and also, please like, subscribe these videos. This will help us get out to other people that need to hear these messages. All right. Bye-bye, darlings.